This is in the year 2000, 2001, and at that time, or at least where we were, but I think generally, it was not so much spoken about in the visual art scene where we were. We did not see projects or initiatives or exhibitions that were working on ecology so much. So we thought this is important, it should be spoken about. So we wanted to establish a platform that could talk about these issues, and not from an outsider perspective of maybe being in the urban and thinking a lot about how things should be, but to actually be out in the land and also be with the people that work the land.
Okay, so I'm Masicz Vrijman. I'm one of the co-founders of Cultivator. A big part of my role is to make spaces. So as an art form, I went, you can say, from sculpture to bigger sculptures to houses, and quite complex. So me and Marlin, we met each other in Amsterdam and at the Art Academy in the Rietveld. And there, from our different points of view, we already started to work with people, with social, make social interactions by our art. In a way, you can see it like that. We started to understand, and both from our different points of view, that you can like you have a canvas and you paint, like you can also see social life or structures in communities as a canvas, and then I paint it. Because of placing flowers somewhere, or you change something in the social structure. We noticed that, like in Amsterdam and a lot of big cities, then the art world is also, when you go to openings and everything. I worked in a gallery and we were very active in the art scene in Amsterdam. Then, to be honest, and I think everywhere in the big art scene, is that nobody's looking at the art anymore. Almost, it's almost about networking. So if you have an opening, then people are not looking at the art; they're looking at who's coming in and how to act, and there's so much distraction. And then we noticed that when we were here, that distraction is gone.
First of all, the name Cultivator is the name of a tool, a farming tool. So the idea is to be a tool, and it's the tool that kind of opens up the soil to make it grow more. And in that also cultivate is working with culture and to cultivate the soil. So we want to be a tool that can do that, being a tool for others to use to kind of let other people's ideas or agendas go through us, what we can offer here. One philosophy is to offer this place and situation for people that do not have access to this kind of places and situations, to inform maybe a artist practice or writer's practice or any kind of activist or someone that is whatever people do actually, that you could get close to a farm life or a village life and use it later.
I like Malin's definition of art is to make what you long for. And then that question to long for is very interesting. So cultivator's philosophy is to give space for people and the ecosystem, animals, and to get the possibility to make what they long for, or to make space to make what we long for.
It's always a question like, how can it be art to drive with a horse in a forest? How can it be art to make potato? For me, art is the space of free thought, or thought that can experiment freely without having to fill into a special need. Like if you make a teacup, you need to make a special thing, but the art could investigate more freely, and that room is what I think art is. Art has to do with some kind of necessity, that I want to do something because I miss it, I don't already see it. For me, the art is the one looking for the new connection, the missing thing, or something that needs to be done that is not already done.
Sluta med det!
Ja, de får inte hålla på och jaga på den mer nu, hundarna.
Kom här, Udd. Undan. Så, fy!
In the beginning we only had 4 sheep, 4 mother sheep, so we called them after our mothers. From my mother, Matthias' mother, Jonas' mother, and this is the because it is many people that come here that never before really lived on a farm or did not milk cows or be close to animals. So that is, I think that's the most feedback, the most thing we get is like, I'm not afraid anymore, or I'm interested, and people realize that animals have many more facets than if you only know about them from books and on distance on a film, you imagine horses like that, and to realize that they are individuals, very different, and that you can actually communicate with them in different ways. I think that is something that people learn, and I also love it when people get over being afraid of becoming dirty or being in the cow shed and just wearing big boots and being dirty and work with shit, and actually enjoying it, and it's not so bad, because that's also something that most people don't have to do and really think that they can't do. That is something, but on more a little bit deeper levels, I think that I've also heard a lot of people being inspired about over anyway the small but community that we have here, and how people are doing things together. The families are meeting and we're cooking for each other and you're sharing things, and that's also outside Cultivator in little larger villages here is I had many visitors that were surprised about the honesty stalls where you sell things just by putting them out, and you can put money in a box, or it could be for some people inspiring or even a little bit comforting to think that there are also places where people live like this, where it's not where it's quite a big trust between each other.
When I moved here from Amsterdam, I did not have this reference at all. Yeah, so I totally do not come from a farm background. I'm Amsterdam, big city, brought up, father doctor's world. I have not been in contact with farm before I moved here. So farm, a lot of what farms means for me has been learned by moving here. I remember also, like, because Hendrik the farmer often getting pissed with me in the beginning when we had artists here, and because we had this exchange of labor, like we said, oh, I can loan a tractor, but we sleep until 11 because we drink wine with artists all evening, and then he comes in with the chainsaw and puts it on like, it's time to wake up, fucking lazy artist, like, whoa. But slowly I started to understand that we are not different. We are exactly the same organism. So I totally started to learn here that we totally underestimate ourselves. And then also to slowly start to see that there's no physical difference in us now than for 100 years ago. And then if you hear from Öland, for example, you see all these stone walls that are built. It's a labor that I cannot even imagine. But then that's a mistake of me. That's underestimating ourselves. And then slowly we started to get up our working tempo because we are fused with the farm. So we started to have that working mentality. Also Hendrik, when we build up shows, it goes very quick and that started to get inspiring. And then also I think it's a lot that on the countryside, work is fused with pleasure. Here we go home, then the kids, they help to run after sheep and other stuff. We plant plants together. So I get my physical labor, I get contact with my kids in one. So it's more that you can fuse things here. That it looks like we're working all the time, but if I put on music and we are a lot of people in the village and we all kind of change the whole roof, it's not work for anybody, it's just fun. And that got addictive here, that I started to see that I don't want to anymore hang and just have like coffee. Because then if the conversation is shit, it's totally waste of time. So now often when people want to talk to me, you get like some tool in your hands and then at the same time you paint my wall. Because if then the conversation is shit, we have the wall painted. And it's better. As soon as we look at labor, we think like, nah, fuck man, I can never do that. But that's bullshit. Like if your grandfather could do it, you don't have a different physical body. We didn't evolve at all in this time. We are exactly the same physical beings as we were when people did stuff that now we say it's impossible. Now that's wrong. And here the farmer just bitch that into you, like, yes, we can do that. And then, okay, we do it. And then you can see that you do it, and then you become addicted to it. Because like, wow, I can do this in one day, or I can move all this, or plant so many trees, and then you want that again. It gets addictive. But like I said, I hear that a lot. That people say, "Geez, I could never do what you do for work." And then, yes, you can. It's no difference between us. So,
That has a lot of stories about it, but because of course it was a magical mystery place for the farmers around it, and it has never been excavated properly. It's still unknown what it actually really was, what was the use of it. It's not exactly known.
I would really like to invite somebody from the time of hunting and gathering. There could be some shaman or some kind of leader or not. And sit down to learn and tense a lot of shit on how to live with the ecosystem again, and also the cultural expressions they had then. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Say collective. Green. Political. And curious, it sounds so cheesy, but open. Okay.
I have art. I have activism. I have art, activism. Art, activism, socialness or something. Ecology. Yeah, that's enough.